group, slice, weld, and attach. Again, contour is going to be all on its own, and flatten is also going to be on its own. It is part of the layers panel, but we were going to go into more depth with those and what those tools actually do. These will go pretty quickly and we'll get through it in just a few minutes. So what we just went over what group does, and again, that's going to allow you to move several objects around the canvas together. It's going to allow you to resize them together. When you do a card and you've got some layers panels with those, and you want those to kind of stay placed to make it look pretty and all that kind of stuff, then that's what group is going to do. It's not going to do anything or change anything when we go to cut. It has nothing to do with the design itself other than what we just covered earlier. So the next one is slice, and you can notice that all of the tools down here are grayed out. Unless you have the right layers selected, they're going to remain grayed out. So if I wanted to slice, for whatever reason, this heart from the center of the hexagon, then what I'm going to need to do is have that one set right where it's at, and you see that it is available. Slice. And when I slice it, what's that doing? It looks the same. Well, if you look at the layers panel, now you have a slice result. Here's the heart that I started with. Here's the octagon I started with. And here's the piece I cut out of the middle. Okay? And if you slide them apart, you can see what happened. Here's the piece that I cut out of the middle. Here's the piece I used to cut with. Okay? I made this my blade, and I cut it right out of there. So that's what that tool is going to do. It is going to also throw a lot of you, because you're going to try to slice and it's going to say it's grayed out, it's not working for me. And let me show you why. If I want to slice this star from the front, and then I want to slice this heart from the star, for whatever reason that I was doing that. So I'm going to align it all in the center. And I don't like where that heart landed, so I'm just going to slide them down. So I have this image. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to group it and size it so I can see it. And there's another way that group helps. Let me undo that. Get that one out of the way. So I can size it and see what I'm doing. And I have my heart, I have my star, and I have my pentagon. But my slice is not available. One layer, the heart. 2 layers, the star. 3 layers, the pentagon. You can only slice 2 layers at a time. So if I wanted to do that this way and have that heart sliced out of all 3 and make sure that it was centered so that I could line them back up, then I need to select that heart. I'm going to hold my shift key and select my star, or I can select my heart and then hold my shift key and select the star over here in the layers panel. Now I only have 2 layers selected, the heart and the star, and slice is now available. So I slice. Looks the same. But I still want that sliced out of the pentagon, and I can see that it isn't. So I'm going to select that heart again. I'm going to hold my shift key or select in the layers panel, and then you can see slice is available. I'm going to click it. I'm going to slice. Now you see my pentagon jumped up to the top. That's because it is the last layer that I worked with. But if I move that heart out of the way, that's the original I started with. Here's my pentagon. Here's the heart I sliced out of the pentagon. Here's my star, and here's the star that I sliced out of it. So slicing works, but you have to make sure that you're only selecting 2 layers at once. So what happens if I have some images grouped and I try to slice? Slice is not going to become available. If they fixed it, let's see. Yes, used to you couldn't have anything grouped or it wouldn't allow you to slice. Now it can be grouped, and as long as you only select 2 layers, then you can slice. And I will just add a heart just to show which one isn't in there. Let me duplicate that. So if I wanted to slice another heart, I'm going to arrange that, bring it to the front. So if I wanted to put another one right here and all of this was grouped, if I select it this way, no slice available. But if I select the pentagon, hold the shift key and get that heart, then I have slice, and it did nothing. So it's not fixed. It did ungroup it. It did ungroup that piece from the group. That's all it did. So you're still going to have to make sure that you're ungrouped in order to actually get the slice to work. Okay? So nothing grouped, nothing attached. If anything is attached to it, and what does attach mean? I'm going to get into that, but I'm just going to show you really quickly. If I attach that heart there, it changes the same color because we attached it, and I'm going to get into that. If it's attached and I try to slice, no slice available. And that's because if you look at the layers panel, I have more than 2 layers selected. Nothing grouped, nothing attached in order to slice, and only 2 layers at a time. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of all of this, and I'm just going to hide that guy in case we need him later. And I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to get some basic shapes, because the next tool we're going to work on is Weld. So I'm going to get a couple of shapes here. I think that'll be enough. So I've got my circle and I've got a square. I'm just going to change the colors of these so it's more pleasing to the eye while we're working on it. And I'm going to make them 2 different colors so you can see what happens. Welding. Welding is permanent, meaning once you weld, it is going to be there for good. Oh, let me back up for a moment. Slice. Remember I said group was like a gem clip and you send it over to the mat? Slicing is like scissors and it's going to cut into it, okay? So make sure that you remember that. Gem clip and scissors. That's going to help you remember those 2. Next, we're going to come over to weld. Weld is permanent. Weld is like glue. Once you weld it together, it's stuck, okay? You can, however, if you weld 2 images, and I'm just going to weld these. When you weld, it makes it 1 image, and it's permanent. Once you save it, I can save it right here. Everybody says once you save it, you can't undo it. You can. You cannot undo it once you exit the project and come back. Once you leave the project, it's done. Any steps that you take after, I don't know what's happening with that bounty bugs. Any step that you take after you weld, you're going to have to undo those to get back to that step. So when you're new at welding, always select, duplicate your images, group them, and hide one. So you can see the eyeball here in the layers panel. It has a slash through it. That means hidden. The eyeball without the slash means it's visible in the canvas. So what we're doing here is we're reading the layers panel. This is the brain of your design space. So when you learn to read it, you're going to make things very, very, very easy for you. So right now it's telling me that I have a circle that's going to cut and a square that's going to cut, and everything else in my project is hidden. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to do anything, as you can see. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that. We're going to go back. So when would you use Weld? Weld is going to come into play with many, many things. One of them being text. I'm just going to use the word create. Let me do that in. There we go. And you saw that we did the other day on the text tools. I'm going to use the Magnolia Sky font. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm going to use Magnolia. Okay, where is it? Where is it? That's okay, we'll use this one. It looks good. All right, so I have my font. I'm going to just make that bigger, just so we can see. And I'm going to letter space it down so that my letters touch like they're supposed to. I'm going to advance, I'm going to ungroup to letters, and I'm going to back my C off, and I may even want to make the C a little bit bigger. So now I have my word create. However you want to set yours up, you can do that. And I don't really like that. I like the Magnolia font better, but we're just going to say that this is what we wanted. This is our design. So I'm going to select it all, and I'm going to duplicate it for this part of the video so you guys can see. So I'm select it all. I'm going to group it so that it doesn't move, and I can move it around the mat instead of moving single letters at a time, because you don't want to have to reline them all up. I'm going to change this color to, let's go with yellow so you can see it. That's kind of not showing good. How about gray? There we go. So I have that gray, and then I'm going to change this one to light purple. And on this one, I am going to weld. Let's just make both of them purple. Make it easy. So one is welded and one is not. You can see the difference in the layers panel. Let's read it. Now it says that we have a weld result that's all one piece, and this is just grouped. It is not one piece, okay? So if I hit make it and send that over to the mat, look what happens. All of these letters just go all jumbled up to fit on the mat, and this one stays in one piece. And a lot of people will say, oh no, you need to attach. So I'm going to do a third one, and I'm going to attach. Oops. Let me undo that. I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to attach. So there I have one attached. I'm going to select, I'm going to hide these real quick. We don't need them right now. So here is my, in my layers panel, my grouped. I'm going to select all, and I'm just going to resize this down. I want it to try to fit on one mat so you guys can see the difference. So let's hit make it, and there we go. This one right here is welded. This one is just grouped, and this one is attached. And I know that you can see at a glance the difference in grouped. It was gem clipped together, so when it came over to the mat, they just fell, all the pieces fell into little pieces all over the place because the gem clip wouldn't hold them. The attached is like a stapler. We stapled it together. And I can still take it apart because I can take that staple out and pull it apart in the canvas, where my weld is all glued together in one piece. Why does that matter? And if you look over here, you can see weld, remember, is permanent. I can't undo it. There is no undo button for the weld. I mean, if I undo, I'm just going to be undoing what I did after that until I go all the way back, and that's going to erase everything else I've done. So that's the only thing that weld is going to do, is make it all one piece and make it cohesive. So you've got your staple, you've got your gem clip, and you've got your glue. But I want you to take a closer look at the difference between your weld and your attach. Do you see that on my weld where I glued these together, in between that R and that E, the E and the A and the T and the E, there is no line between them. If you look at attach, I have a line between them. You know what's going to happen? This R is going to cut out of the E, and the E is going to cut out of the R because there's a line there telling it to. And I'm going to send one to the back just so you can see it here in a second. And then this E is going to cut from the A from the E, the A from the T from the A, the T from the E to the T. It is going to do that. It's going to chop it up in little bitty tiny tiny pieces. All of these little tails right here. Now, this is where the E is going to cut from the T. This is where the T is going to cut out of the E, because we did not glue them together and get rid of those inside cut lines. So that is the difference between your weld and attach and group. So you've got your gem clip, you've got your scissors on slice, you've got your glue on weld, and you have your staple on attach. I hope that that clarifies. I'm going to leave this video short so you guys can refer back to it so that you can figure out what's happening with your project when it doesn't work. Actually, we're going to do a little bit more with weld. Before I do that, I'm going to just do it quick to show you images as well. If you have images and you put them together, you can create other shapes. And I'm going to ungroup that. For instance, if I wanted to do a mug shape, a coffee cup mug, I would get myself a couple of circles and a square. And I'm just going to line this up in a range. Actually, I'm going to unlock my circle and I'm going to kind of bring it down just a little bit. I want to keep it the same width as my square. So my square is 311, and so I want to make this 3.11 as well in the width. And the height is okay for me on that. Let's see, and I'm going to lock it back. So I'm going to bring that in there, and I'm going to align. Just want to, if you see these little corner edges, you want to bring it down till you don't see them. There we go. That looks good. So now I have that. Now I'm just going to duplicate that and bring it and put one at the top, doing the same thing. So me using two different colors, you can see that a cylinder is forming there. Okay, I can get rid of this one, don't need it. So I'm just going to group those for now, just in case I need to take them apart, and I'm going to bring them here. Actually, I'm just going to hold that to the side. Then I'm going to go over to my text, and I'm going to get the letter C. And I'm going to change this back to Cricut Sans or Impact, whatever font you want to use. I don't know why must be internet issues. Impact, System, All, Filter, clear all filters. Doesn't want to change my font. I'm in the new canvas. I bet that's probably why I'm having an issue. Let me go back. Maybe it'll refresh it. Cancel. Cancel. I want to go back to the canvas. There we go. Now maybe I can change it. And let's go with don't know. It's a Cricut font. This is weird that my font won't change. I may need to delete. If this happens to you, one of the major things that we tell people to do is to clear your cache. We have a link for that. Just ask for it if you need it. It's also in the help section of Cricut. So you can go over there and look up clearing application cache. And that will help. That way you won't have to do what I'm doing right here and search for your font. I really need the Cricut Sans. There it is. So there's my C. I'm just going to make that bigger. I'm going to unlock it and start skewing it. Okay, so I've got it unlocked and I'm going to start to skew it, and I'm just going to bring it over. And maybe I want it shorter. Depends on how you want yours. That looks pretty good. So now I'm going to select all of these and watch what happens when I weld. Now I have myself a mug shape, but I really want that piece for the top. I'm going to ungroup. That's why you want to always duplicate, arrange, move that to the front so I can cut that from another color or make it a little bit smaller. And now I have myself a cup. So Weld is going to help you do lots of things. And if you want to make this out of a card, you can duplicate, use your flip tool, horizontal, bring it over. We're going to align top. You can align bottom, whichever one you want to do. And we are going to make sure that they're touching. We're going to select them and we're going to weld. And now they are joined together. And all I need to do is upload a shape. And go to shape and insert my score line. I'm going to bring my score line right over. Size it to fit. Select it. I'm going to attach it because I want it to score. If I don't attach, it's going to be on the mat by itself. I'm going to arrange. I'm going to duplicate that. That's going to be on the front of my card, but I kind of want a lip there. Maybe. I don't know. That would be the front of my card when I folded it. And you can also put one in the back. But super easy, super simple. When you fold that card, then you're going to have a coffee cup card. Super easy, super simple, and that's some of the things that your welding can do. So the next tool we're going to do, and I'm going to keep this up. I'm going to save this.